The twins, Ella and Mia, had always joked about their differences. Despite looking nearly identical, their personalities couldn't have been more opposite. Ella was the free spirit, always chasing the next thrill, while Mia was the grounded one, with a knack for order and details. One rainy Saturday afternoon, while scrolling through her phone, Ella stumbled across an ad for a DNA testing kit. "Let's do it," she said, shoving her phone in Mia's face. "What? Why?" Mia asked, raising an eyebrow. "For fun," Ella said with a grin. "Come on, maybe we're like 1% Viking or something." Mia hesitated but relented, knowing Ella wouldn't stop pestering her. "Fine, but don't blame me if it's boring." The kits arrived a week later, and the twins wasted no time. Ella tore open the box and began reading instructions aloud, though Mia was the one who carefully followed them. A few cheek swabs, sealed vials, and prepaid envelopes later, their samples were on their way. It was meant to be just another harmless adventure in Ella's book, something they'd laugh about over coffee later. 2 weeks passed, and the results finally arrived in their email. Ella opened the notification first, her excitement palpable. "Mia, come here, it's in." Mia shuffled over, holding her tea, and the two huddled over Ella's laptop. At first, the results seemed routine, a mix of European and Asian ancestry, a few distant relatives listed, and some general health markers. But then a bold red alert flashed at the top of the screen. "Significant findings. Immediate consultation recommended," Mia read aloud, her brows furrowing. "What the hell does that mean?" Ella asked, leaning closer. "I don't know," Mia replied, scrolling down. "It says a medical professional will contact us soon. This doesn't feel normal." Their unease deepened when later that evening, their family doctor, Dr. Patel, called them directly. He was calm but serious, asking if the twins and their parents could come to his office the next morning. "What's going on?" Mia asked. "Let's discuss it in person," Dr. Patel replied, his voice steady but with an edge of urgency. By the time they arrived at the clinic the following day, their parents, Mark and Lisa, were already visibly tense. The sterile smell of the waiting room seemed sharper than usual, and the fluorescent lights felt uncomfortably bright. Dr. Patel greeted them and led them into his office. He didn't sit behind his desk this time. Instead, he pulled a chair closer to them and placed a folder on the table. "I need you all to stay calm," he began. But the results of Ella and Mia's test flagged something unusual. "What do you mean, unusual?" Lisa asked, her voice tight. Dr. Patel opened the folder and slid a printed report toward them. "The twins' DNA is a match to evidence from an unsolved case involving a crime scene from nearly 20 years ago." The room fell silent. Mark's face drained of color. Crime scene? What kind of crime scene?" Before Dr. Patel could answer, there was a knock at the door. 2 police officers entered, their faces stern but not unkind. One introduced himself as Detective Harris. "Dr. Patel contacted us immediately after seeing the results," Harris said. "The DNA match is connected to a high-profile case we've been working on for years. We'll need to ask you all some questions." Lisa clutched her daughter's hands, her knuckles white. "Wait a minute. What are you saying? What does this have to do with my girls?" Harris hesitated before speaking. "The DNA evidence links the twins to a cold case involving an abduction and a suspected murder. The details are still unclear, but the match is significant. It's highly likely a close relative, someone with a direct genetic link to Ella and Mia, was involved." The words hit like a thunderclap. Ella and Mia exchanged wide-eyed glances, their hearts pounding. "But that's impossible," Mark said, his voice trembling. "We've never been involved in anything like that." "Is there anyone in your extended family," Harris asked gently, "who might have had a troubled past? Anyone who could have been involved in something criminal?" "No!" Lisa exclaimed, tears brimming in her eyes. Our family isn't like that. Ella, who had been silent until now, spoke up. What about Grandma? The room turned toward her. What are you talking about? Lisa asked, her voice sharp. Ella shrugged, her voice barely above a whisper. She used to say weird things sometimes, like, not everything in life is black and white. And remember how she always got upset if we asked about her past? Lisa shook her head, her expression unreadable. That doesn't mean anything. Detective Harris leaned forward. Do you have anything of hers? Letters, journals, anything that might give us a clue? The twins exchanged a glance. Her attic, Mia said softly. Within an hour, the family was back at their late grandmother's house, the twins sifting through boxes of old photo albums, letters, and notebooks. It was Ella who found it, a worn leather journal tucked inside a dusty trunk. Here, she said, handing it to Harris. He flipped through the pages, his expression darkening with every entry. This is significant, he said after a moment. Your grandmother knew something. She wrote about a night when a man showed up at her door with 2 babies and begged her to take them in, saying they were in danger. What? Lisa gasped, her voice breaking. Ella and Mia stared at each other, the realization dawning slowly. We're adopted, Mia said, her voice shaking. Lisa broke into tears. I didn't know, she sobbed. Your grandmother, she never told me. The rest of the night was a blur. Detective Harris took the journals as evidence and assured the family that the investigation would continue. Meanwhile, Ella and Mia were left to grapple with the truth that their entire lives had been built on a secret their grandmother had taken to her grave. As the days passed, more details emerged. Their biological father had been a fugitive tied to a human trafficking ring, and their mother's identity remained unknown. The police believed their grandmother had taken them in to protect them, cutting all ties to their past to ensure their safety. Though the answers brought some clarity, they also left the family with more questions than they'd started with. Who were Ella and Mia, really? And why had their grandmother kept this secret for so long? In the weeks that followed, Ella and Mia leaned on each other more than ever. Their bond, though tested, had only grown stronger. And as they pieced together fragments of their history, one thing became clear. Family wasn't just about blood. It was about love, sacrifice, and the choices that defined who they were.